Well, so let's get right to the news. We'll start with the story that's captivated Nintendo fans since last night. The Switch, that's the name of the much anticipated 6.2-inch multi-touch screen portable gaming system from Nintendo. The Verge says with true portability combined with the ability to stream high res to your television, that Nintendo already gets right what the Wii U gets wrong. The Switch gets right what the Wii U gets wrong. The Joy-Con, that's the controller, and there's also an option for a Pro controller. The whole system will cost you $300. It'll be available on March 3rd. Now, I know you have a lot of video game systems and VR in your collection. Are you planning on adding the Switch?
We're not sure. I was leaning actually towards no before I watched Nintendo's presentation. And then after I watched, I'm thinking, maybe this would be good for my kids when they want to play, when they want to bring their tech with them. It's kind of cute, but it does carry a heavy price tag for what you're getting out of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, do your kids, do you usually let them take iPads and things when you're traveling? Is that what you're talking about?
They don't usually, but we let them bring it on, but when they're on really long trips, we actually want them to be able to go on the trip without having technology with them, but we let them play every day if they've earned their points to be able to play video games, and so then they can play whatever video game they choose to, and it's really adorable. I like the idea of it. I don't know if I would like the application of Switch as much as I'd actually like it. Are you thinking about getting it yourself?
No, Nintendo is not really my thing. It wasn't part of my childhood. I'm an Atari girl. That's where my nostalgia for video games goes. So no, I don't think I would. And my kids are they haven't even asked to play Super Mario Run, even though we have it on the iPad. They're just not interested in it. So it's not something that I think I would get for me or my family. I'm sure that Zelda is a beautiful, wonderful game, but it's not something that I've ever really played. Is it part of your childhood, Nintendo?
It is. I love Nintendo. My brother actually had an Atari. I had Nintendo, and it's a big part. I have every single Nintendo system sitting behind me. And yeah, I love it. Mario Kart's one of my favorite games. I love Zelda, love the Final Fantasy series. So it would be something that I would be the target audience for. But I think that where it misses is that for portability, it doesn't have a really long battery life. And then as a console, it still doesn't have the power in comparison to like an Xbox. And so you're kind of missing out on both worlds, and it has a little bit of everything. And so I'm not really sure which niche it would fit in our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. So the battery life when it's not docked is around 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it's between 2 to 6, depending on what game you're playing. And, that's not a long time to be able to play and be portable. So if you're on a really long trip, you have to make sure that you're charging at the same time as you're playing, which you can do. And the other issue that I have is that both controllers on the sides are not equidistant to each other. So one of them is completely different layout, even if you flip it around than the other side. And so that for me would get me messed up when I was using it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I see that. What about the parental controls? Is that something that you've taken a look at? Something that seems useful as a parent?
I think that's great. But my kids are already pretty good. I already have all of my computers and my iPad's already set up with all of the parental controls on it. So it's not something that I worry about because of that. Mm-hmm. So, and the subscription system of you only get to play one game a month online is, from the NES and one from the SNES. It doesn't seem to be enough to be able to warrant it. I think that they really need to look into more of the Netflix use as you want model if that's going to fly. And I hope that they're going to change that.
Right. So yeah, the subscription service is free in the beginning, but then you'll have to pay for it eventually. So yeah, I guess, so those aren't games that you download. So if you can't you don't get to keep those games, is it just something that you play online?
Yeah, I think that, and then there's only a certain number, a really strong restriction on the amount of number of games that you're going to be able to have during that period of time. So I'm not sure. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of people that are really excited about this, and I think that it has some really cool modules. Did you see that when they were doing the Switch 1-2, where you're like, doing a gun battle against other people, or you're boxing using arms? Those are really neat ideas. But again, we have VR, so then VR would still beat out Nintendo for that.
Mm-hmm.